We're homebrewing. This is the second attempt at homebrewing, and this is my first attempt at my own recipe. We're going to do an extract homebrew. I don't have the all grain stuff because this is only the second attempt. These are steeping grains. We're going to do steeping grains. I've got 1 pound of chocolate, and I've got 1 pound of Crystal 120, which should be fairly sweet. I've got a half a pound of black malt and a half a pound of roasted barley. That's going to be our steeping grains. We're going to fire it up here in a minute, and we'll get to the hops later, and we'll get to our malt that I'm using a little bit later. But first, we got to let this go for about 30 minutes. Let's get started. I've got 2 bags here because I got a lot of grain. It's about 3 pounds total grain, which is a lot for an extract kit, but I want it to have a good flavor. And for all we're doing, we're moving this around. We're going to treat it like tea. We're going to let this go for about 30 minutes. I'm going to monitor the temperature. I don't want it to get above 170. Everything that I've read says that that's what we want to do. We don't want to go higher than about 170. So I've got my 2 steeping grain bags here, tying them off, getting them good to go. And then once this is done, after about 30 minutes or so, we'll pull them out and get ready to add our actual malt sugars. We're almost at 80.
All right, Adam. This has been brewing for what, about 5 minutes?
5 minutes or so, and
Yeah,
we're already up to getting close to 80.
Which is pretty warm considering how cold it is out here right now.
You see how black it's getting.
Yeah.
The amber that I brewed, that we did on our Flying Blind video, didn't look near as dark as that to start off with.
Okay.
So this is a good start for our either porter or stout. We'll see we'll see the color, what it looks like.
So we'll have this bottled up and drinkable this afternoon?
This afternoon. That's exactly right.
Patience. I have none.
The thing that I read said that you don't want to exceed 2 pounds. Well, there's 3 pounds of grain in there. And so that's probably max. But I've looked at one of those extract recipes.
Yeah.
And one of those extract recipes had something like 4 or 5 pounds of grain in addition to the malt extract. So I mean, that's a lot, you know.
So you're just disregarding any recipes and suggestions.
I figure I could push it just a little bit.
Because you've made one brew in your life.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. Well, it smells chocolatey. All right. So we just took another temperature reading. We're at about 150 here. Figure about 2, maybe 3 minutes at the most.
That's it.
All right. Boy, it's steeping nicely, though.
Okay, so we've been in here about 30 minutes. And what we're going to do now, we're going to pull our grain bags out, and we're going to just let them drain. Get as much of this good liquid as we can. See, we've got a good dark looking tea, if you will.
Sure.
Got a really good looking dark. Compared to the amber that I made, this is a lot darker. The amber was a rich brown color, whereas this is really black, a dark brown, near black. It's gonna be good stuff here.
And again, we're not going to squeeze this at all.
Yeah, we're not gonna squeeze it. We don't want to squeeze any tannins or anything like that.
Just let it drip out.
Drip out there. Okay, that's one bag. We'll pull the other one out the same way. We're keeping the fire going at the moment as well. We're going to keep that fire going. So soon we're going to add the actual sugar that makes the beer. We're going to add that in. It'll be good stuff. So what we have here, we've got some dark dried malt extract. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly pour some of this in and stir. I don't want it to clump. We'll try and get a vortex moving here. I'm just going to pour it in. We're going to do it real slow. We're going to get it turned in. Let's get it all stirred. This is going to be the sugars that actually make our beer here. Stirred in. Dried malt extract tends to clump from everything that I've read. I've never used it, so we're gonna learn together. I may go get a whisk in case I have to. We're gonna get a good, see, there's a little clump right there. I'm gonna make sure to get this all good and stirred in. We've got 7 pounds of this to put in. 7 whole American pound sterling, whatever, I don't know. All right, so we have just done a 2-man job here of getting our 7 pounds of DME, dried malt extract. This is dark. It says 30 Lovibond. I don't know what that means yet. I'm hoping it's good. We'll see. We've got a nice head to it. We foamed ourselves up a really nice head. We've got a good stir on here. We're almost to boiling temperature. You see there's a lot of liquid in there. Some of this is going to boil off, and that's okay. But we've got a good mix, no clumps. Nice little head here. We're waiting for the hot break, what's called the hot break. If you've ever had pasta boil over, you'll know what the hot break is. We're waiting on that, and then we're going to add our hops. We have 2 different kinds of hops, and that's going to be fun to see. Boil over.
Oh, it looks like it's getting ready now. It's really roaring. Almost ready to lift this thing off. Okay, so hot break is over.
Hot break is over. Success. No boil over. It's good stuff.
All right.
We got a good, nice boil going here. Had to turn up the heat a little bit.
Yeah.
We got a good, nice boil. Check that out. First round of hops is going to be Fuggle.
Fuggle hops.
Funny name, Fuggle. It's a traditional British hop. Good for stouts. Good for porters. We're putting all this whole bag, and this is going to boil in this bag with this beer for 60 minutes.
It's going to do what in the bag?
It's going to boil.
In English, would that be boil?
Here, have a smell of that real quick.
Oh, wow. Ooh, fruity.
Very.
Yeah.
It's got a nice smell to it. It's not really punchy. Doesn't have any sort of punch to it. It's nice balanced. Which is what Fuggle is known for.
These are pellets, correct?
These are pellets. We're doing pellet hops.
All right.
And we're going to do just like we did with our greens. Stick them in the bag.
Tie them off.
Tie them off. And let them go.
Uh-oh.
Whoa, we got a little... That was interesting. That didn't happen last time.
Turn that heat down a little bit, or?
Well, let's see what happens again. The Fuggles are fuggling up.
Yeah, they. Okay, Adam, what are we doing now?
We are at our 30-minute mark, and we're going to add our first secondary hop. We're going to have 2 hops in this. We started with Fuggles, and that was at 4.8% alpha acids. This is East Kent Goldings, and it's got a slightly different flavor to it. This is at 4.8% as well. For it says it's got a citrus and spicy aroma. We're going to use half of this, or around half of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hop bag here. I could directly throw these in there, but I'm not going to. I'm going to take my hop bag here. I'm going to open it up just a little bit. And I'm going to take and I'm just going to estimate a little bit, because it is an exact science. I'm just going to estimate about half or so. That's about half or so. Let's feel it. Yeah. Let's do one more. Let's do one more pellet. There we go. One more pellet. So we've added these East Kent Golding hops to marinate in here with the Fuggles. We're going to let that go to the end of the boil, and we're going to do one more hop addition at the 15-minute mark. So here in just a little bit, about 15 minutes, we're going to add the last little bit of these East Kent Goldings. Should give us a nice hop aroma to go with this really rich, dark beer that we're making here. We're doing what's called a late addition now. We're going to add 1 more pound of our DME.
And what's in this one?
This is the dark DME. It's the same stuff we've been doing, and we're just going to add it in here with the hop bag. So I'm trying not to mess up the hop bag, whack it around too much.
Sure.
We're going to add this in here, and this is going to give us a last little bit of a flavor boost, a nice sugar boost too. We're making, it's going to be a strong imperial that we're making. You see how it's clumping? We're going to get the...
Do you want me to get that whisk going again?
Yeah, we're going to get the whisk going here.
Because I had done that before.
Yeah, we're going to get the whisk going.
2-man.
I'm going two-man operation here. Here we go. Multitasking like fiends.
Yep. Move that bag out of the way. There you go. There. Get them clumps in there. All right.
There we go. Now we're doing it. Now we're cooking with gas.
So, Adam, what in the heck is that thing?
Wort chiller.
All right.
This is called a wort chiller.
I've seen them online.
Yeah, it's like a radiator of some sort.
Sure.
Somebody's gonna come steal it. Don't keep it under the house. This simply just goes in. I'm being careful not to hit the bag. This simply goes in. We're at there's 20 minutes or so left, maybe a little longer. 20 minutes or so left. This will sanitize it.
I was going to say, that's what we're doing right now is just
we're going ahead and put
getting it sanitized in that extreme heat.
And then here in the next 5 minutes or so, we'll add our last little bit of hops.
All right. All right, Adam, what are we doing now?
This is the last hop addition. We've got 15 minutes left in our bowl, approximately, give or take.
Okay.
A little bit. You see that hop bag is all nasty.
Yeah.
We're doing our last little bit of hops here.
So that's the other half of that bag?
Approximately half an ounce. And it's our last little bit of hops that are going in there. No more additions. We may have one surprise addition. We haven't decided yet. We'll see when we get there.
Right.
But this is the last true beer addition. Anything else that we add will be flavoring only. We're going to do our last. This is the last little bit of the East Kent Goldings.
Mm-hmm.
We're boiling. We got our wort chiller in there.
Get yourself a spoonful of that and show everyone anyone that's watching, the two people or whatever.
Yeah.
Like how much darker that has gotten.
How much darker it's gotten.
Look at that. Oh, that looks so
really
good.
Nice, rich color to that.
Yeah.
We've tasted it a couple of times too, and it's got a good flavor to it.
Yeah, nice chocolate flavor to it so far. Very anxious to see how this turns out.
We're shaking. We're shaking. We're not fearing any foam here.
No, this is the sanitization process, and
we've got our carboy here. I've got this all plugged up. We got to give it a minute of time here. This is a 7-gallon carboy for a monster that includes with the kit.
Nice.
Put that in there.
Nice job. More beer, although it says more wine on it.
It says more beer on the other side.
Oh, okay. Just ran out there. What did you add in there?
Irish moss.
Okay.
This is a clarifier. This goes in at the last 5 minutes or so of the bowl, and this will help clarify the beer a little bit, so it's not super hazy.
All right. All right. So the kettle's been taken off of the flame, off of the little stove here that we have, the camp stove. And Adam is getting ready to set up the hose to run through the wort chiller. And as you can see, water is starting to flow. There we go. All right, so you said we're looking at what, about 5.5 gallons?
Approximately 5.5 gallons.
Okay, not bad.
Not bad.
And we've got this set up. I am fearing the foam, even though they say don't fear the foam. All that sanitizer just kind of freaks me out a little bit. Just looks off-putting, but when you made your amber, it was perfectly fine.
What we're doing is we're affixing our tube here, and this is going to get our beer from our kettle into our carboy fermenter and release the hounds.
Ooh, look at that color.
And what I've done is I've put a strainer on here. I put a strainer on here just to kind of get any sort of residual grain, anything that's in there, just to help it out a little bit.
Okay.
So it'll take us a little bit to get all this out, but we've got, again, about 5.5 gallons. This is a 7-gallon carboy, so we should be good to go. You know, it's got a rich smell. I can already smell it coming out here. It's got a rich, dark smell to it. Here is our porter / stout. How about that? Looks pretty good.
It does.
We've got a lot of liquid in here. We've got right at 5 gallons.
Okay.
So it ended up being right at 5 gallons.
All right.
What we're going to do now is I'm going to put my top on.
Right.
Put the top on. And we're going to oxygenate this just a little. And then we'll pitch the yeast. So we've got our stopper. It's been sitting in some sanitizer.
Yeah.
I've got my airlock.
No, you've been very diligent with the sanitization there. All that sanitizer in that 5-gallon bucket over there. And everything's been...
And it's okay. I don't even really need my airlock at this point, so I'm going to take it back out.
Uh-huh.
The main thing is to just try and get some oxygenation in here, because the yeast will really like that once we get it in. And we'll show you what we're going to do when the yeast comes happen.
All right.
So what we've got here, we've got our yeast. This is our yeast starter. I'm using Y Yeast 1028 London Ale. This is an ale or a yeast designed for porters and stouts. I've made a starter because that's what it recommends. I used the proper starter, a can of the proper starter. Made that on Tuesday night, so it's been sitting for a little over 30 hours, I guess. I can't do the math that quick, but it's been sitting a while. Not quite 48 yet. I've covered it up. So this was all sanitized in my Erlenmeyer flask here. What we're going to do is we're just going to pitch this right in straight away. There's different theories about letting it sit and letting the yeast fall down, but let it collect in there. But we're just going to pitch it straight in. I'll pitch it straight in, and then right after that, immediately, I've got my cap with my rubber airlock. Cover it up. Got to make sure that my O-ring is straight, because that O-ring is finicky on this particular model here. So, get a good tight seal. Put a little bit more sanitizer in my airlock. And we have made beer.
All right.
We've taken our gravity reading too, and we'll have that next. So we have an initial gravity reading. Let me get my book, and you can see how the gravity reading is supposed to go. For this particular recipe that I've concocted, and this is my own recipe, we're doing, we should have an original expected gravity of 1.084, and I think we're close to that. I think we're close to that, but it's looks like it's more like a 1.78 or something like that. I'm not 100% on how to read these things, but I think that's about a 1.76 maybe. We'll get a picture of it. But I'm shooting for about an 8.3%, so we'll see how that works.